Hello and welcome to The Real Radio Show on UCFM 87.8, coming to you from the University of Canberra on Ngunnawal land. I'm Tash.
And I'm Hannah, and producing for today is Barrett.
Well, how are we feeling today, Hannah? You're hosting this week after producing?
I'm back in this seat. They let me come back. It was amazing.
They let you come back. As if you weren't in the room with us the whole time.
No, literally.
Week.
But still, I'm excited. We have a lot of really fun guests for today.
Yes,
Personally, I'm looking forward to hearing from Brad Tucker.
I know, a very recent space mission we've got coming up later.
Exactly.
We've got lots happening on today's shows. Hannah and I went life drawing last week. Things get out of this world as Dr. Brad Tucker joins us to talk about the Artemis II mission. Jaida Stevenson talks to us about Noisy Futures' 10th anniversary show. Facebook Marketplace is suffering from inflation as Hannah and I play The Price Is Not Right, but that could also be a next week thing. We shall see. Barrett gets judgmental, as always, of my music taste this week as he expresses his thoughts on Paris Paloma. Now, send us a message throughout the show on our text line 0415 774 405. You can stay up to date with everything UCFM by following at UCFM_87.8. And if you're not already, tune in on iHeartRadio to listen to UCFM wherever you are. This is The Real Radio Show. Starting off our show today, I have a question for you, Hannah. You and I both like music and concerts. But my question for you today is, would you go to a concert in the middle of the Californian desert with thousands of other people, influencers, and spend upwards of $800?
See, the smart part of me wants to go, no, I would not do that, Tash. That's a stupid waste of money. But truthfully, as you know, I'm very much a victim to FOMO.
Yes,
and if I knew other people that were going, I definitely would kind of cop out the money a little bit.
Yes, I fear that if everyone in our friendship group said, Hannah, we're all going to the desert, and you need to come too, you'd be like, okay, fine.
I'm already there.
Yes.
I'm on the plane.
You would be the one pitching the trip to start off with.
That is a good point.
Well, I can confidently say that whilst I could be peer-pressured into doing it, it would sound like my worst nightmare, even though I live in Australia, I do not like the heat at all. That's why I'm in Canberra.
No, you are a crochet cardigan sort of girly, and usually that doesn't really favour, 40-degree weather.
Yes, I know. I'm wearing one right now, actually. Maybe if we get a photo for social media. It's one of my favourite ones.
You're just marketing your own creations now.
Yes, exactly. And speaking of the beautiful fashion that I'm wearing, music is not actually the only component of Coachella. If we go to social media, we'll scroll through, and we'll find thousands of videos of people posting about their styles, or they're doing get ready with me's, or as we've seen some kind of fails, people get styled professionally. What do you think of this?
Listen, some of them do hit, and I'm not going to judge because I know that I've rocked up to festivals in some pretty cooked outfits every now and again, but when I do see James Charles on my feed, he haunts me.
Oh, James.
I'm scared. I'm afraid. He brings out these crazy scarves, or his whole butt is out, and
I know.
Love and light to James. I don't need to be seeing that.
He's got a lot of different ones out there. I've seen Madeline White had a very nice one this year. It's a reference to 2014 when they all were in their mermaid era.
Oh, okay.
And I can always get by a mermaid vibe.
Yeah, I know you can.
Yes, every single year. I'm there. But Coachella's also a music festival, guys. We do have the music as well. The actual point of the festival. Now, there is one headline in particular that I want to talk about today, which is our man Justin Bieber. If you could call it a performance, he sat down and basically did, homemade karaoke. He got up the YouTube Premium and he said, I'm going to play through all my own songs. I'm just going to sing over the top of it while sitting down with the computer.
Yes, you did show me a clip, and Justin Bieber got on that stage, got paid thousands of dollars to sit down, get up his laptop and airplay Justin Bieber. He's wasn't it Baby, Baby, Baby?
Yes, he did all of his old hits, and it was meant to be a nostalgia grab, but it just felt like the bare minimum from a white man sitting down.
It feels like a sleepover where I'm like, guys, here's my solo performance.
I know, singing in the shower. Justin, he got paid $10 million, by the way. This isn't
million?
Thousands of dollars. This is millions. He was one of the most expensive artists they got, and he said, I'm going to rock up and have a sit. Which, crazy.
But you know what? Hey, if you get paid for it, I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum.
Yeah.
Tash, another week has passed, and that means that we have another segment of Hobby Hunters. What did we get up to this past week?
Well, Hannah, for those of us who obviously weren't there with us, we went into Civic, into Smith's, and we did some life drawing.
We did. It was for the Smith Scribblers event, which is a very cute thing that Smith's does, where it has some evening classes and middle of the day classes where you pay about $10 to $25 and you go in, there's a whole model there, you sit down, have a cup of tea, have some coffee, and you get into the art.
No, it was a very chill vibe. Like, they had like jazz music playing in the background, and then the model would just like change poses like every 10 to 20 minutes. It was a very chill vibe. It was like completely silent so you could focus, and very enjoyable experience overall.
Yeah, there was some jazzy little music in the background, which I did appreciate.
Mm-hmm. You do appreciate some good jazz.
I do. I'd have to say we did have a bit of an anxious moment trying to get into the room because there's obviously a privacy curtain because, you know, love and light to the model. She probably doesn't want to be displaying it all to all of Canberra. Mm-hmm. And we did have a moment where we didn't know where we could go through.
Yes, the curtain, you had to go in a specific spot, and we were trying to whisper with like the person who was running it because obviously, like I said, it's silent in there.
But
people
obviously
don't want to be disturbed.
Everyone heard us because it was silence.
Yes.
But, you know, once we got down and got in there, it was really good. We did have an awkward angle, though, so I did unintentionally make it much more difficult for us since we had to do a lot of foreshortening with the poses the model was doing.
Yes, I would say if you go, try sit in the middle of the room rather than the side, because we sat on the side on the couch, and that meant that we had a side angle, and that's a lot harder to draw than a front on.
Yes, there was... we unfortunately cannot reveal our drawing since it's an audio-only medium, but I will say some of them were looking rough.
It took me a hot minute to get into it because I hadn't done drawing in a while, so I just gave up on my first sketch immediately. I was like, there's lines and it's half done and I'm not doing it anymore.
There were moments where I looked over to you and I'd see you staring into the middle distance, not at the model, just into the wall.
I mean, Smith's has so much decor looking around. I'm not in there very often, or at least during the day where I can actually see what's happening. So I was looking at all their random objects they have around.
You did have an unconventional approach, which is that I'd look over at you and you weren't drawing the model, you were drawing the decor around the room.
Yes.
Like, you'd get the details of the paintings and like
I
the
drew
stools.
like the chair she was sitting on first, and then I drew her.
It was a very nice chair, I have to say.
Had lots of florals.
Exactly, but I think we did pretty well in the end. You know, we got a few drawings out of it. What's good about Smith's is that they kind of warm you up into it, since you do a lot of like 1-minute sketches to start with, so you feel really loose, and then they build up to you doing about a 20-minute sketch, which is probably good because my problem is that I rushed into some of the longer sketches and then I was like sitting for 10 minutes being like,
now what?
Yeah, I was like, I could make this better, but I've done too much to add anything.
Exactly, you should have copied me, start drawing everything else.
Exactly. What do you reckon was your biggest challenge with that in terms of what was the hardest thing for you to draw?
I mean, for me, I find it hard to draw real life things. Like when I draw or like I practice drawing, I copy sketches so that I can see where I need to put the lines and actually how to make something like 3D.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm looking at something real, I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
It's hard. You can't use the grid method or anything because it's not a photo that stays still the entire time.
Yeah. What about you? As an actual artist?
I wouldn't call myself an actual artist, and I don't want to fixate too much on it, but definitely the feet. I'm not used to drawing that for a reason, so they kind of just looked like Lego bricks that I put at the end of her body. But anyways, let's hear some from some actual artists. We talked to Lydia and Ryan and chatted about their approach to art. Listen in.
Hi, my name is Lydia.
Yeah, and
Ryan.
Generally, what's your approach to like doing life drawing? Because I know when I was doing it just then, I was very caught up in fine details and trying to get the proportions right. But you guys, I think, leaned more into strong shapes and gestures and just being very less like stuck in the little details, I suppose.
Well, there's probably when you start as a child, you're taught to do this as as a thing. Oh, they make it look like this or make it look like the same. But the reality is this has changed. That whole it's changed how art is. This looking this way, this looking that way, whatever, and it really disappeared, and then it allowed everyone to be more creative.
Just kind of feeling the model.
Yeah.
How I emotionally perceived her.
Yeah.
And what my hands wanted to do. The lines that I wanted to follow.
Yeah.
And that's how I sensed it.
How did you guys find returning to it after taking a break for a long time? Because that's something that I've been like, because I did it so much in high school because I did visual arts, and then I just like with uni I've just dropped off so hard and done it so like in really big gaps.
Yeah. Well, you have it always around you. I mean, you're always, if you ever read, you always you carry a pad and pencil with you. Just doodle if you need to on a bus or on whatever. Do these things. Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like anything else. You may forget how to learn if you carry on, or not get better if you don't continue doing the work. But for the most part, now, man, I tell you, art that you see everywhere around you is art. You know, a line is made from art, so
Yeah.
you know, art is historically, it's tattoos are one of the oldest forms of art, or wall painting, and so you have people, have done these different things forever. That's what we do. You know, at my age right now, I like to just experiment and try different things, and and do whatever that's in the moment that makes me feel like I've accomplished something.
Yeah,
sometimes, I was an illustrator for a bit, so I did some artwork that way and whatever. So every sketch you do, you end up getting this big, like, all the boxes of. But you go back at it and you go, that's kind of cool right now. That's just that. That's it. So I always tell my kids, who knows, if I die and 100 years later, maybe might be worth something. So
Got a collection.
You've left something behind. Start putting the price tags on you.
But the point is you just got to do it. You just got to do it. You express them. I think people started here because they just wanted a break from something, and they obviously maybe learned. But there's obviously a lot of artists as well. That, whether they're hobbyists or one timer, or they got their own studios or whatever. I don't know, because it's timed as well. I mean, you're not forced to do it in a hurry, but you're just allowed to be relaxed. I mean, like when you're in school and studying and getting grades, you're getting grades. Yeah. So the point, the fun, where's the fun of it? I guess that you're taught and you learn and you pick up skills and whatnot from it. But the reality is, at the end of it, they need to give you a grade. Yeah. So it's less.
It's able to be more for you.
Yeah.
The Artemis II launched last week. Guys, have you been keeping up with the mission? What's been going on?
I fear not as much as I should have. Like, I know that they splashed down safely. I know that they went up into space, and I know it's a really big deal, and that's about it.
I fear that those are the two basic things. They went to space and they came back.
Hey, listen, not to spark notes it or anything, but I fear that's the main event.
Fair enough. Barrett, what about you? Have you been keeping along with it?
I heard something about people going to the moon, and that's it.
Fair enough. Well, guys, I don't know about you, but when I was little, I had dreams. I had dreams of being an astronaut, and then I discovered it's actually a lot more complicated than it seems.
Yes.
But what I'm going to do here today is that I want to see if we have what it takes. So I found a highly credible source on the topic, BuzzFeed, and I'm going to test you guys, and if you answer these correctly, you're ready for the stars. But given it's a pretty competitive, astronaut program, it's going to be competitive between the two of you. So whoever's first to answer correctly will get the point.
All right.
Do we have a buzzer, or are we just yelling?
You're just yelling.
I think we're just yelling it over each other.
We can create a sound for you to say if you want.
I think
moon.
Artemis.
Okay. I fear that one's a bit more complicated to say. All right, well, let's get straight into it. Guys, question 1. Which direction does the Earth turn? East to west or west to east?
West to east, I believe.
Tash, that is correct. Barrett, a bit slow on that one, eh?
I didn't know.
Question 2. In what type of eclipse does the moon go between the sun and the Earth?
Solar.
That is correct, Barrett.
Oh. So you're quicker that time.
Let's give it a go.
It's neck and neck, guys. Number 3. What galaxy are we in right now?
The Milky Way.
Oh, damn it. No, I knew that one too.
Question 4. What is the biggest planet in the solar system?
Jupiter.
Oh, that was a tie.
Tie. And we were both
Do we fight to
question
the
mark?
death for it now? Or?
Scissor, paper, rock?
All right. How about this? What we'll do is we'll do scissor, paper, rock live on air. But given this is an audio medium, yell your answer.
We'll say scissor, paper. Yeah, we'll audio say it.
All right,
okay,
I have
ready?
to say it? Okay.
Scissors, paper, rock, scissors.
Okay. All right, one more time.
Ready? Lock in.
All right.
Scissors, paper, rock.
One more time. Hit it again.
Scissors, paper, rock, scissors.
Paper, okay.
Yes, I won. Okay, there we go.
I feel like Barrett just gave that one up. All right, next question. Who was the first person in space? Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, or Yuri Gagarin?
Neil Armstrong.
Incorrect. Tash, do you want to Yuri? It is Yuri. First person in space, not on the moon, Barrett.
Oh, wait, weren't they all in the minute? Okay.
No.
No.
There was
I'll be
an
quiet
order.
now.
I think. I don't know that much. I just kind of guessed that one, not gonna lie.
You were like,
congrats to Yuri.
Which name stands out?
Yeah,
all right,
basically.
guys, next up, what is an exoplanet?
What?
An exoplanet? Question mark?
An planet.
Is it
Is it an X-planet? They were a planet? Now they're not a planet?
not an X-planet.
Is it a planet that's not gas?
No. Here, I'll give you guys a hint for this one. It is also known as an extrasolar planet.
Is it very hot?
I mean, most likely.
Oh, I don't... So,
I'll give you guys
Can we look at the run sheet?
5 more seconds. 5 more seconds. Any attempts?
heat.
Can
Does
I
it have
Google
its
it?
own sun?
It is a planet that orbits a star other than our own sun.
Oh.
Guys, it's still
That's
pretty
too
close.
hard, actually.
You got too specific there.
All right.
You
what?
overestimated our knowledge.
Listen, guys, I'm sorry. If you want to be an astronaut, you need to know these details.
I thought
Fair
it was
enough.
just you'd say infinity and beyond, and then that's it.
That's true. That's
So
true.
Buzz Lightyear told me.
I am probably making this a bit too hard. All right. What type of animal was the first in orbit?
a dog.
Dog.
Barrett was the first on that one. It was a dog. And for a bonus point, Barrett, what was the name of the dog?
We're literally saying it like a minute ago.
Yep.
Come on,
now.
Barrett. Am I allowed to
Now
steal?
all I can
Astros
think of
and
is
get it?
crypto, and I
Memories
know
too.
it's not crypto.
Come on. I would. If he doesn't
Can
get it in
Tash
5
take
seconds,
it?
can I steal?
All right, Tash. If you know it, try to steal.
Leica.
That is correct. Guys, it is pretty neck and neck now. This is the tiebreaker question. What is a day on Mars called?
A day. So, like,
Is
the
it not
word
just called a
for
day?
day?
The word for day.
A day?
No,
No.
Barrett.
I don't know. It could have been a
Silly
trick
Barrett.
question. I'm with him. Could have been a trick question.
All right, how about this? I'll give you the first letter. It
Okay.
starts with an S. Has as many words as the word day and has in it as well.
Sol.
3-letter. That is correct! Which means Tash is the winner of our astronaut quiz.
Would you look at that? I won a quiz that Hannah did, guys. This is monumental. I'd like to say thank you for having me as your host.
only time
and
you've ever
quizmaster.
done it.
We've got Dr. Brad Tucker on the line, an astrophysicist and cosmologist from the Australian National University, to help explain the Artemis II mission. G'day, Brad. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. My name's Natasha, and I'm here with Hannah. We're both the hosts for today's show.
Hello. How's it going?
Good.
I guess we can get loony with what we talk about.
Yes, we can. My first question for you is, what is the aim of the Artemis II mission, and why is it necessary?
Yeah, look, Artemis II was a gigantic test drive. This was NASA's version of making sure the rocket and capsule that they've built is ready to go.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, it was right. And this is the thing. It's yes, we've built cars for 100 years and airplanes for 100 years. When someone builds a new one, you still want to have someone test it before it gets on the road.
Yeah.
And this is kind of that same logic that the capsule is quite new in its operation. The rocket's new. Even if they look similar or old, there's a lot of things underneath the hood, so to speak, that are different. And this was about validating all of that so that in the future Artemis missions, they can focus on the new stuff that hasn't been done.
Right.
Yeah, no,
right.
100%. You don't want the rocket blowing up mid-mission, trying to get back to the moon.
Or stranding
When
some
things go
astronauts
bad
in
in
space.
Yeah, when things go bad in space, they go bad in space.
Yeah.
There's no little bad.
I was going to say, you don't exactly want to be freezing up in the middle of just open air. I feel like that would be
Exactly.
one of my top 10 worst ways to die, actually. That's the reason I'm not an astronaut. Like, that terrifies me.
No, despite our quiz results. Brad, you've been posting a lot of photos from the mission so far. I'm just wondering, what are the implications of these photos compared to the ones we've had from previous missions?
Yeah, so look, some of it was also the ability with better data, photos, imagery, that sort of thing, and human vision. So they were able to pick up a lot more subtlety in the colors of the moon. The moon does have a bit more color than we realize. We see it from Earth as this giant reflective orb, but when you get closer, you can see some of the different hues. There was quite a lot of browns in the moon, and even some reddish hues, and we believe that should have been the case for a while. But we've been able to pick that up. So some of this is really being able to see a lot better resolution. Also seeing things live. So they're able to see actually at least 3 meteor or small rocks impacting the moon in real time. And when they do, so when rocks hit the Earth, they burn up as shooting stars. When they hit the moon, they create these little craters, but a little bit of energy is released as this kind of spark or explosion that they were able to see it. And that was a really cool thing that, again, we know it happens, but you have to be at the right place at the right time. And because of how up close they were, they got to see it in a lot of detail.
Cool. That's so interesting to think about the moon as like not just grey.
Yeah.
I don't think I can in my mind it just doesn't fit to have like a brown moon, but that's so cool. I was wondering as well, I think a lot of us operated on the wrong assumption that the mission involved actually going on the moon again. Yep. I was curious, from your perspective, why do you think it's been so long since we've had a person on the moon?
Look, there's really three practical reasons. Firstly, the Apollo program cost a lot of money. And today, U.S. dollars, it was $250 billion U.S. dollars. Like at peak. Yeah. I mean, the U.S. blows money, but that was a record. It was 9% of the U.S. federal budget in the 60s. So it wasn't sustainable that way. It was very expensive.
100%.
Then there also, a lot of people think there is this huge plan they had. Shockingly, sometimes the U.S. government doesn't have a very big, detailed plan going forward.
Sounds about right.
And so the whole focus is on getting to the moon. There wasn't a lot of thinking about what was next.
Oh, yeah, they just wanted to get there first.
They said, put the flag in and go.
That's right. And that was it. So there was kind of what you do next. No one had thought that through. Then finally, people lost interest. And so it was costing a lot. There was no reason. People lost interest, and that killed it off. And so it's taken a while for the moon to have a purpose, and it now does, about why we want to use the moon for longer term operation. It had to be cheaper, which it is, especially with private companies, and society's interested in it again. So kind of the three reasons that killed it off have changed, and that's kind of why it took so long.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, very interesting that they've now kept up with the times and people's evolving interests.
Yeah, Katy Perry, went to space and everyone said, hey, you know what? Maybe we should do this
exactly.
stuff again.
If Katy Perry can do it, surely I can kiss the ground. Shockingly, the astronauts did not kiss the ground when they came back. But
then what's the point then?
I know.
Well, didn't they have a splashdown? What are they going to do? Kiss the water?
Yeah.
They could have. Maybe there was
two?
a fish that would have greeted them. I don't know.
Exactly.
Now, how has little old Mount Stromlo Observatory been involved in this mission?
Yeah, so one of the big things they've done differently with this one is a network of what they call laser optical communication. So this is sending data via lasers rather than radio waves.
Oh, wow.
And so as all of these images were being downloaded, if you were to do this back in the day with radio waves in the 60s, you wouldn't get those images downloaded. It would take too long. So with lasers, we were able to transmit data at about 30 megabits per second. So that's kind of, a good speed on the NBN. I mean, that's not saying a whole lot, but at least it's a good download speed from space. And so this technology, there was 3 stations, 2 in the U.S., 1 here at Mount Stromlo, that was testing, can we do this? Can it be reliable? Can we effectively get the data down? And that's the sort of thing that was quite exciting about this. And so the Mount Stromlo station was built in a quicker amount of time than the U.S. ones and for a cheaper cost, and worked beautifully. And so this has changed now the way we get data back from space.
Yeah, 100%. That was a lot of things that I did not understand, but you're explaining it very well. Like the megabyte stuff, I'm just I think that's fast, but I'll have to take your word for it.
In theory, you can easily download a TikTok video. Let's say that. So, but that's the thing. In the future, when they actually do walk on the moon, we'll be, we'll get live streaming from the moon, right? And that's cool. Yeah.
Now, I do have one final question before we go. Do you believe in aliens? And what do you reckon they'd look like if you do?
What's your professional opinion?
Yeah.
So look, I think nearly everyone in the community will agree life exists somewhere.
Yes.
Now, firstly,
confirmed, guys, confirmed.
No. But firstly, when we say life, we mean boring things, right? Bacteria,
like
single cell. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest amount of life, and that's actually the most amount of life on Earth. Mm-hmm. Now, if you get to complex life, I think there's 2 issues to this. Firstly, we think everything has to be and look and act like us because we're very self-centered as a species. But it doesn't have to be, right? There should be space dogs. There should be alien dogs. There should be alien dinosaurs and alien elephants and all sorts of things out there.
True.
Right?
We're not
And
creative
so,
enough for that.
Yeah, you
No,
said
we're not.
space
No, we're
dogs and I
not.
got very excited.
but yeah, I mean, I am sure they would be awesome as well. And space cats would probably still not like you at times. But the reality is we're focused a lot on ourselves and that, we're the pinnacle of evolution and we're the peak and everything needs to be like this. That's not always the case. So I do think complex life exists, but it may not be in a form that we even recognize. And that's an interesting question, right? Would we see something, if an alien came to us, would they think that our trees are life, or would they say it's just tree? And so these are right. And so these are sorts of questions that when we think about this, what does it look like? So I think we will find life. I think we will find simple life in the next decade or so in our solar system. I think we are getting that close. The complex question, it doesn't seem like complex life is in our solar system. We could be wrong. It could be on one of the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, but we have missions that will be there at the beginning of the next decade that will answer that as well. So I think we may start to touch on that. Is there anything like us out there right now? Potentially, probably, but I don't think we will come across
There might be
it.
too many million
you heard
light
it
years
here,
away.
Dr. Brad Tucker. Potentially, probably, there are aliens that exist. We have Jaida Stevenson on the line representing Noisy Futures Canberra, a charity organisation dedicated to supporting young girls, trans boys and gender diverse people in their music journeys. Jaida, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Yay.
Oh, I'm so glad you're back. We missed you. It's been a hard 3 weeks.
Yes, I know.
Yes, yeah, same here. Getting separation anxiety.
Oh, well, first off, congratulations on the 10-year anniversary. You guys are celebrating with a live music show at Gang Gang on Sunday. What's the event going to look like?
Yeah, thanks so much. It's so awesome. Been going for 10 years, which is so fun. The event's just going to be a big party. So we've got market stalls. We've got a panel going on. We have obviously live bands. So we have music from Dogtooth, Ula and Private Wives. And yeah, it's just going to be a really, really fun time. It's going to be workshops as well, and it runs from 3 p.m. until 9 p.m. So you can come down in the Arvo and still be home in bed before 10 p.m., which is great.
That's sick. I love a good bedtime.
I was going to say, you do. Well, you just mentioned the lineup of performers you guys have, Ula, Private Wives, Dogtooth. How would you describe those performers for people who haven't listened to them before? And do you have a personal fave out of the three?
Yeah, well, they're pretty diverse. So Dogtooth's pretty indie. They're from Braidwood, so they're kind of local. They also have gone through our rock camp program before, which is super cool. And then we have Private Wives, which is like punk heavy, just very very cool. Lucy, the singer, actually went to the first ever rock camp, which is so awesome that they're killing it. Yeah, alumni from 10 years ago, which is crazy. And then we have Ula, who I love Ula so much. I think I'm going to say they're my personal favorite just because I haven't seen them before and I've been wanting to watch them for a long time. So, yeah.
We've all got to get down there and watch because I feel I haven't listened to any of these guys before. So seeing them live would be such a good experience.
A very good opportunity to expand, your interest in Australian music.
Yes, exactly. Now, Jaida, last year, Noisy Futures changed their name from Girls Rock Canberra. Can you give some insights behind the name change and why supporting gender diverse trans people and women in music is so important?
Yeah, I think we decided to kind of rebrand our name into something that was maybe more accessible and covered all groups that we were trying to empower. So especially given non-binary people, gender diverse people, trans boys, and make sure it's not just for girls, it's for everyone of marginalized genders. So yeah, that's kind of the crux behind the name change. And also just moving into a new step in our journey. I think Girls Rock has been a movement, a worldwide movement that started out in Austin, I believe, but we've kind of taken that and run with it ourselves and made it more of our own thing now. So Noisy Futures is kind of our own brand and our own voice coming up out of Canberra. But yeah, I think it also represents Noisy Futures. It kind of represents this next wave of musicians that we're promoting to get into music and create safe spaces in music.
Yeah, no, 100%. Inclusivity is so important, and to make it our own for Canberra is super duper cool. Now, outside of this weekend's event, you guys also run a rock camp. What gave you the idea for it originally, and what goes into running it?
Yeah. So our rock camp's super exciting. It's kind of our main thing that we do here at Noisy Futures. But it started off as a thesis project for our director and brainchild of Noisy Futures, Kiara, and they wanted to do their thesis on creating safe spaces. So they ran the first ever rock camp back in 2016. It was a week-long program where people from, I think, the ages of 10 to 17 come and learn how to play an instrument, form a band, write a song, and at the end of the week, you perform it at a showcase in front of everyone. So super exciting. Yeah, really cool. And
experience.
We do heaps of like DIY creativity stuff there as well, like screen printing and zine making. But it's like kind of like a school holiday program, but like mixed with like, School of Rock vibes, which is awesome.
Oh, and you do love School of Rock, don't you?
Yes, big School of Rock fan.
So I was wondering as well, do you have a favourite moment from working with the charity that you'd like to share?
Oh, I think probably Rock Camp last year, 2025. So I've known about Rock Camp my whole life. My friends went to the first ever one back in 2016, but I wasn't in Canberra at the time, so I missed it. But I've known about it, and I've definitely been involved in some aspects, but I've never actually attended a camp before. So last year was my first year working on the camp, and just the showcase last year, I really nearly cried. It was just so cool seeing all these people make such beautiful friends and make such cool music, and they're just the coolest people in the world that do rock camp, and it's just very inspiring to see.
Oh, that's lovely. I reckon it would be really impactful as well to be able to be around other musicians and collab with them. I feel like that's a core element as part of, learning and developing your own style over time.
Yeah.
But before you go, Jaida, where can people buy tickets or support you guys?
Yeah, so we have our Humanitics link, which you can find basically anywhere that Noisy Futures promotes itself. So on our Instagram, which is just Noisy Futures, our website, which is noisyfutures.com, through our Facebook, but just follow the link tree in our Instagram or on the website. It should be in the, there's an event section and it should be in there in the ticket link. But yeah, I don't think tickets are too much money. If you can't afford it, just send us a DM on Instagram and we're happy to waive the fee. We want it to be inclusive for everyone. So yeah.
Beautiful. Well, guys, make sure to look up Noisy Futures on Instagram and on your chosen webpage in order to get tickets. Sounds amazing. Thanks so much, Jaida, for joining us. Really looking forward to the live performance this weekend. We're going to cut over to Barrett, who's about to get very judgmental.
Welcome to another episode of Barrett's Judgment this week. Tash, you are my victim. You gave me Paris Paloma to review this week. What is exactly makes you like Paris Paloma so much?
Well, Paris is currently one of my favorite artists that I listen to. I'm not typically the type to have just one favorite on the go at any given time, but I picked her as I think she has very strong messaging in her music, which I really tend to resonate with, and I think she has a powerful yet soothing voice to listen to.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with both of those statements. I think I've written down here, I like the peacefulness of her music, and then I also find the enjoyment of her more angrier songs.
Yes.
The chanting style she does, so interesting. As someone who listens to a lot of belty songs, this found, for me, was a very different way for her to get that across without, I'm sure she has a powerful voice.
She's not exactly shouting,
but
it works.
Yeah, it's more of this chanting thing. Labour's a perfect example, and it's her most popular song, and for a decent reason. I think it is a pretty cool song. But for me, Labour wasn't my favourite though. I find it's a little bit the same as a lot of her other music, which I don't mind. Again, as I've been saying, I do like it. I do like the chanting. Labour wasn't my favourite chanting though, and I do prefer her more peaceful music. And I do think she's got that belt in her, as she is from the UK. We look at big names from the UK like Adele and Lewis Capaldi. They love a good belt, and I feel like she has that in her, and she's just hasn't chosen to use it. She's saving it for the next album and the main
She's
song.
cooking at the moment.
Yeah, she's cooking. The new album, when that comes out, will just have that one song with the belt in it, and it'll be an absolute masterpiece.
Exactly. We're going to have to wait for that though, sadly.
Yeah.
I'm eagerly anticipating.
Do we have any hints for a release date?
I actually should know this, yet I do not. She came out with a new version of her song. Oh my gosh, I cannot remember how it's pronounced, but it's like a Japanese pronunciation.
There was like a little EP thing that she had out.
Paris is currently Googling that. But yeah, Paris is very
Miyazaki?
Cool. Yes, that one.
Miyazaki, yeah. And then she's also got Good Girl and Good Boy with that.
Yes, Good Boy. The music video was like kind of huge because she had Tom Blythe playing the main person who's been blowing up recently due to his roles in like Songbird, the Hunger Games movie.
Hunger Games, yeah. Which was a very good movie.
Yeah, so that was a very big pull for her to have in her music video. Very cool. You guys should go watch it.
Definitely. And she kind of goes for like that fantasy vibe as well, doesn't she? A lot of her songs. I think even her photo of her Spotify is her in like this knight's armor. So.
Yes. She has a lot of artistic and imagery and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is very cool. When it comes to her albums, though, again, as we were saying, only the one album, so I can't compare it and say one was really bad compared to the other.
Yes, I know. I didn't give you a lot to work with. I thought I'd give you a more niche.
I appreciate that. It's been a lot, especially coming from Daniel Caesar with like 4 albums.
Yes, I lighten your load a little bit.
Yeah, but it was still a really good album, and I think it really shows off her, like the chanting music we were talking about before, and the more peaceful music that I tend to enjoy a lot. When it comes to a favorite song for myself, I mean, firstly, Tash, what was your favorite song from her?
My favorite song, usually I have them like tied because I have like the liked songs on my Spotify. Now, Labour is one of those two just because like the really strong messaging, and I think like not just like the chanting, but like at the end she has like the overlay and specifically the cacophony. That one was really special because she had all of like people like me who like listen to her music. You could submit yourself singing it and it was added into like the chorus of people. So
That's
it's actually
so
her
cool.
fans are all singing her lyrics, which is like really empowering for like young women. So I think that one's really cool. And then for like one of her slower songs, it's not part of her album, unfortunately. It's an EP. It's called Notre Dame, and it's got a bit more like religious imagery, looking at her like she feels like she's looking down at the world from like this holy presence, and that it's like if there is no God, at least I'm paying attention kind of thing, of like humanity paying attention to one another instead of just relying on like a presence that may or may not be there depending on your beliefs. And her voice is just very soothing on that. So those are like my top 2 from Paris that I recommend people listen to.
Very interesting. Did you submit your voice into the chat?
No, I did not.
Oh, disappointing.
I don't know
would've.
what the legalities around that were. Could have been just for a specific region. I didn't look too much into it. I should have missed opportunity. Maybe she'll do it again.
Well, for next time, because I'm sure she will. For me, though, my favorite was Knitting Song. Again, as we were saying, I much preferred her more peaceful and happy songs. This one was just really nice to listen to. A bit of yearning. We love a bit of yearning.
Yes, you do love a bit of yearning in your songs. I think we can tell by today's music, which Brad picked.
What do you mean? It's been an enjoyable ride for me. As far as ranking goes, I think she's probably going to go at number 1, which may be surprising, but I think
gosh, I'm so happy.
just the more poppy vibes, number 1.
Hannah's annoyed, I'm ecstatic.
So we've got number 1 with Paris, number 2 is Genesis, number 3 Teen Jesus, and number 4 was Daniel Caesar.
That's all we have for this week, guys. Thanks for tuning in to The Real Radio Show. And special thanks to our guests for this week, Dr. Brad Tucker and Jaida Stevenson, for joining us. Also, special shout out to Noisy Futures and their upcoming Sunday show. Check out their Instagram at Noisy Futures for tickets. Make sure to follow our socials as well at UCFM_87.8. We'll be back again next Tuesday, but you can find past shows of this on our website at ucfm.com.au, or you can listen to the podcast version wherever you get your podcasts. Bye.
Bye.